Yes.
If someone else.
Yeah. Exciting phase of the program. Where
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, there's a lot going on. And yeah. All right. So we get started? Yeah. So bring the pizza, bring more pizza, eat more pizza. Too much pizza. I overbought pizza, it's true. The pizzas are bigger. Didn't want to underbuy. Yeah. People didn't. Oh no, we'll know next time. Yeah. Okay, right there. Yeah, me too. Did you make that map? I was at sail across the ocean. No. There will be a test at the end of this presentation. And if you fail, you have to give back the pizza.
give me a few hours.
Oh, welcome everybody. My name is Ravi Mikkelsen. I run the Clean Web. It's an initiative to support clean tech innovation around the planet. And I brought in my good friend Matt here to organize ClimateLink-Seattle, be a monthly or more often meetup to showcase cool clean tech startups, get together, go for beers, have more often. So I've been the organizer. Oh, use this fancy laser pointer. You can actually touch this. You can actually touch the stars with this thing. It's freaking awesome. Valentine's Day gift, super. So anyway, I've been the organizer for CleanWeb SF, which was started 5 years ago by the founder of Sidecar, if anyone remembers that startup. It was an Uber Lyft competitor 4 or 5 years ago. So he, along with this group, they decided to start what they called the CleanWeb Initiative, which was a showcase in technology to recruit engineers, developers, entrepreneurs to switch from your general consumer tech, tap-to-click games type things, to work on problems that matter for the planet. And they started meetups, about 2 to 3 dozen meetups all around the globe. And it was run as a nonprofit, and it was a really great endeavor, but there wasn't enough donations or anything else to sustain it, and so it sort of fell by the wayside. So just over a year ago, I took over as the organizer when the then organizer abandoned the SF group. And so I said, okay, I'm going to give it a year. It's got a ton of potential. I'll do 12 meetups. We ended up doing 18. We grew from just over 600 members to we've got 1,500 now. So in that time, I was also working on a solar finance startup. And if any of you are riding the solar coaster, you know that in August we had a trade dispute, which then caused sort of the residential market to tank, and also any possibility of starting a residential solar finance company. So I've got my main thing diving. I've got Clean Web growing like gangbusters, and a lot of people saying, can you help me fundraise? Can you help me hire or get a job in the industry? And can you help me start a meetup like this in my city, all over the planet? And so at the end of the year, beginning of this year, I said, you know what? I'm going to shelve the solar idea and I'm going to work on this full time. And that's when I reached out to Matt and a few other people. And so that's sort of, this is my roadmap for the next couple of years. Green is what's active right now. So we've got San Francisco, Seattle, New York, you can't see under all that blue and purple, and London. And then the blue is where I'm planning to go this year and start meetups. What I've just learned since making this map is that through Meetups API, you can actually sort of create templates and start. So I'm going to scale myself through our online platform so that a lot of the purple can get bit done this year as well. So what the Clean Web is, really, it's a hybrid network combining the physical meetups to build community and do the showcasing of technology with an online platform. Similar to AngelList LinkedIn, where you can showcase yourself, your startup, connect with investors, job seekers, customers, service providers. And really, we can move the needle on early stage clean tech innovation. So, going backwards. Yeah, here's our schedule. We're already into it, so do more networking and drinking afterwards. Former Secretary of Energy, Ernest Moniz, basically said, things are good, but unless we put a lot more money into early stage innovation, we are not going to meet our 2-degree goal. And then we should all get on that rocket ship to Mars. So I'd rather, save Earth instead of, Mars. So far this year, there's been about $8 billion invested in the clean tech sector, clean tech startups, primarily in transportation, autonomous and electric vehicle startups.
Wait, this is year to date 2018.
This is year to date 2018 data. So, at current run rate, there'll be about 50 billion over the entire year. But if you look at the seed stage, the earliest, it's only 1.3% of that 8 billion. Everything else is pretty much even. So this is what Secretary Moniz was talking about. We need to fund the earliest companies if we're going to solve this problem. And traditionally, sort of here's the different funding sources for the different stages. Government, philanthropy, and angels have taken care of the earliest stages. We know what the government is doing right now in terms of funding for clean energy and anything science related. So that's out. And that leaves mostly philanthropy and angel investors. Philanthropy probably has the biggest opportunity with billions of dollars, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Vulcan, Bezos, all of them put billions of dollars and they want to do this. But, well, outside Bill and Melinda Gates, all of these philanthropic foundations have very small teams and they don't have the resources or the training of a traditional venture capital firm. So to do the discovery, due diligence, and standardization of terms, they would need to change their charters in order to hire more people and spend more on the operations rather than on the funding. So right now, philanthropic capital is very slow. Well, everybody I've talked to is like, why don't people just go on AngelList? Well, we did. I did for my solar finance, and this is what I found. So 0.14% of the startups on AngelList are in the clean tech sector. This is everybody else. This is what gets funded. And you're like, okay, well, there are several thousand investors who are putting money towards clean tech. Well, there's several thousand who say that they're really interested and they're investing in clean tech. And you're gonna have to talk to 40 of them before you find the handful that are actually putting money into clean tech companies. So angels are up. So that's where the Clean Web, that's where this comes in. What we want to do is provide the online platform so that we can remove all of that noise at 99.86% of companies. So it's like, okay, this is a platform just for clean tech companies. You're interested in water, here's a water company. Oh, it's ocean conservation, here's ocean conservation. And so that we can catalyze the billions of dollars needed to bring the technology up so that we can actually meet our 2-degree, we can stay under our 2-degree goal for climate warming, global temperature warming. And so we'll combine the online platform with these physical meetups, and what's not there yet, but this awesome, this positive, what do we call it? A positive helical feedback loop of awesomeness, something like that. We're still working on what exactly the structure is going to be, but
it's going to feel good.
Yeah, it's going to feel great. And so come to the meetups, and then it's like, oh, you know, you're looking for a job gets posted on the platform. You see that Matt posted on it, posted the job, and he's attending the meetup on drone seed delivery. So you also sign up for the meetup, and you go and you meet Matt in person, and you charm him, and now you got a job. And then it goes back and forth. And now you meet the investors, your company gets funded, and then you get to talk at a meetup and post jobs and hire people that come to the meetups from the platform. And on it goes, and we save the world. So this is the plan for the year. Got San Francisco, Seattle starting tonight, New York City at the end of this month. And then by the end of the year, we'll cover sections in just about sort of every quartile of the country and Hawaii as well. Won't get up to Alaska this year, but hopefully next year. So if you know people in these cities, please let them know that we're coming and to reach out. Why I'm doing this, just before I entered college, I think climate change is the single greatest threat that we face as a planet, but also the single biggest opportunity for wealth creation by changing our economy. The fun facts, Ravi means the sun in Sanskrit, so being in solar and clean energy is quite fitting. If you haven't installed solar before, that's what's going on here. This is with a nonprofit called Grid Alternatives. It takes people who, on our crew, we had 3 people who had never held a drill, never held a hammer before, and they were installing solar. They drilled into people's roofs and installed a conduit, and it was safe and it met code. And our Seattle organizer, Matt, is right here. You want to say something, Matt?
Yeah, great. So I worked with Robbie on this stuff a few years back in the Bay Area when I was living down there and running a water conservation startup that unfortunately didn't make it great, but as they do. But yeah, I came back here and I realized, there wasn't a meetup presence for specifically, web technologies, and a lot of people are developers in this town. But it seemed like a lot of the meetups there were development, and I feel like there's a good synthesis. We have people who run clean tech, Burger, a clean tech meetup, and a couple other things, and I think we can use this platform as a synthesis of that to where really use some of the strong suits of Seattle to build this out. And we want to get people who are early stage in with the people who know the investors and get and get those guys in the door as well, and women, and kind of facilitate that community for us.
Yeah. Well, awesome. So, wait, Steph. Yeah. So, what were part of the goals for tonight? So, sort of figure out what is it that you all want to cover for this year? Like, what are some interesting topics? Energy storage, sensor networks, anything and everything, transportation. We've got so like while we're talking, we don't have to shout out now and not put anyone on blast. But we want topics, speaker intros. So tell us tonight, email us, share this meetup and the other meetups with your network. We've got a Slack channel. It's still growing. It's not fully active. There's not conversations going every minute, but slowly growing. We've got a jobs board. So if you're looking for a job after you graduate or are hiring, and these will soon be moved to the web platform. So as I said, this has been sort of full blast for like the last 6 weeks, and I'm trying to get everything done as soon as possible. If you have feedback, ideas, please email me or Matt, and let's save the world. Thank you guys. Let's drink and eat.
Can we ask a question?
Of course.
My name's Bert Hamner, and I am the organizer of the Seattle Clean Energy Meetup,
Clean energy, sorry.
which is now 1,200 members.
Awesome.
And I inherited the Seattle Makers Meetup, which is 1,300 members. And now I have 2,600 people. I don't know what the fuck to do with them. No, really, it's a problem. So I want to say congratulations to you guys on having the energy to do this, because it really takes a couple of people at the center to push it forward. It's easy to organize something and then stand back and like, I hope it'll all work. So tell us about what you did in San Francisco for the last year, because I looked up your San Francisco meetup group.
Yeah, thank you.
And you've been running a bunch of activities pretty consistently.
Yeah.
For a year.
For a year.
In a place that already knows about clean tech.
Knows about clean tech.
You weren't the first.
We weren't the first.
So what did you do to make your group stand out and to make it get some juice going?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing was that I committed myself not just to take it over and like be open, like I'm going to do this. I said I'm going to do 12 meetups over 12 months. And one of the biggest things, like while we had the growth, is that as I started doing it, it's like, okay, set up. And also, as we posted a few meetup really like their recommendation is the strongest thing on their platform. And so they were publishing us to, promoting us to other groups and individuals who are part of San Francisco Python and the hikers and whatever. But also I worked with, I spent a ton of time, like you said, it's a lot of work. 20, 30 hours a month at least. So having partnerships with some of the local accelerators, startup groups, say, hey, can you promote this event? And getting the speakers themselves to promote it. And did a couple of, our end of the year event was with Data Science for, it was a joint meetup with Data Science for Sustainability, and they have 3,000 plus members. And we got the head of sustainability for Google to come and speak. And so it was just sort of all of these things, working with other groups, a lot of promotion, and just a lot of hours by me. Like in January, I brought on 2 people to help me for this year.
You brought them on, are you paying them?
No, I brought them on as co-organizers of the San Francisco meetup. And because they're looking to grow their own network in San Francisco. And so they get up there every month and people recognize them. But yeah, it was hard. I mean, it's like a few of the months comes down to, and it's like, who's speaking? It's like, we're supposed to have a meetup next week. And it's like, but then after April of last year, it was sort of like, okay, I've got May set up in June and July. Now I'm 3-4 months out, and then it just got this flywheel effect. But I think there's lots of things we can do together here.
Sure. I have another question, because I walked in late. Sorry about that, man. Missed the intro there. Clean Tech Web, is this a very IT-focused internet web kind of thing? Because Clean Tech also includes things like biodiesel refineries, where you can lose all your money to solve everybody. So having an IT
I worked on building one.
Having an IT focus in this town is actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah. So there's
is that a thing when you say the Clean Tech Web?
Right. So there's two parts to that. So there is the Clean Web as an online platform.
Right.
I didn't want to just call it like Clean Web Agelist because I thought they would sue me. But so there's that, which there's the online network, which I want to help. Like, it's a little easier for sort of the web-enabled clean tech. If you're just if you're a software company that's doing customer acquisition for solar, yes, you're a solar software company, but it's a marketing company, and that's much easier to fund. If you're actually building a solid-state catalyst for, a heterogeneous catalyst for biodiesel production, that's a little bit more difficult to fund. And so you need a database of 10,000 investors, and you're going to find that one, there's one investor who's on the island of Sumatra, and he really wants to invest in heterogeneous. So we're going to connect him to that researcher in Duluth. So there's that part of it, but then there is sort of Clean Web as an industry title, which is that software. And it's like the clean tech meetups and industry's been around. That's sort of like, okay, here's this one category. And within that, I think Clean Web sort of sits underneath it as its own sort of industry sector. It's like sort of, here's the software IoT side of things within the umbrella. But then it's also kind of recursive, so it depends on how you put it. We'll figure it out eventually.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. How about we go around and just everybody say their name? There's a relatively small group, so we'll just say our name, what we're doing. Start with you, pal.
Pat Dolan. I'm involved in IoT, all organic vapor detection. Our real business is supplying sensors to the underground storage leak detection systems manufacturers. Our sensors are under many gas stations all over North America and Europe, now South America.
I'm Ansel. I'm graduating next week with my master's in mechanical engineering from UW. I'm sort of focused on renewable energy, and I'm currently working over at Hydrogy, but I am looking for a full-time mechanical engineering job in the area. So if you know anything, let me know.
Aaron Bachman. I'm working with a startup trying to develop a platform for, I think.
Hello. Hey. IT that works.
Yeah. Building a platform for renewable energy project financing, solar and wind, not residential scale though, I should mention. You're right, not a good possibility. We're very, very early stage right now.
My name is Elena, and I am at the startup developing wave energy with some storage capabilities. And
I'm Meyer. I'm actually not technically in clean tech. I'm an architect, and I do work on commercial projects and almost buildings.
I'm Bert, and I already used up all my hot air.
That's it?
No, he didn't.
There's more.
My name is Jake. I'm a financial planner. I work with Clean Investing.
Yeah, Adam Hughes. I've been working in utility scale wind and small solar in a few different positions for the last about 10 years. But I'm looking for a new job right now, so that's one of the reasons why I'm here.
Chris, I'm a law student, and I'm interested in all the multiple legal issues that are faced by entrepreneurs.
Hi, my name is Bill Swan. I'm the founder of Aquarium Energy. We're a hybrid energy startup. We're doing waves and storage at the same time. And yeah, we're looking for engineers, so it's interesting. Mostly people who have scraggly hair, know a lot about magnets. It'd be helpful. Things like that.
Hey, I'm Josh. I have a background in design and graphic design and product management. I'm just looking to get involved in something I can be passionate about on the side. So I may have a full-time gig, but I'm looking for something that's a little more in line with this.
I'm Shai. I work at Amazon and I'm just interested in learning more about that.
I'm Linda. I've been supporting clean tech for about 18 years.
I'm Mom.
I'm Robbie's mother.
When you visit home, it's a blessing.
My name is Lauren. I'm a software developer intern at Uber right now. I'll be looking for a job in a couple of months. I have a deep interest in all kinds of sustainable systems and would love to work on some projects either for fun or for work that help make the world better.
Any ideas? What should we talk about? Wave energy, energy storage.
How much pizza we can get into our hands in the immediate future?
That's renewable energy right there.
That's right there.
Right.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So, curious about whether it'd be better to have a B Corp or a C Corp or a C Corp with status of, I think it's a public benefit corporation, if you want to get in the clean energy business. So I've heard that it's better to be a nice traditional C Corp because in that state, investors are more interested in working with you. With the hand of B Corp, it's more about doing public benefit, doing something for the environment, or any sort of good thing.
Yeah.
And maybe that would be more attractive in the clean energy space. But I just want to get people's opinions on whether or not one is better than the other in this business.
So does B Corp potentially in the early stage have a scare off effect of investors who are really interested in making money?
Well,
Exactly, yeah.
so technically, there is no legal B Corp framework.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get venture investment, you pretty much have to be a Delaware C. Tax and legal protections, that's what they'll require. And sort of the B Corp status, that's sort of an internal legal structure that you said, it's like, here's our intention, this is what we're planning to do, for that transparency and everything. But you can be a B Corp on top of an LLC or a C Corp or whatever. It's just, if you want the investment, from the legal structure, you want to be the Delaware C, but then in terms of attracting sort of the impact investors, saying that, or showing that you're going to be a B Corp might be of benefit. But
Yeah, and then also in Washington State, instead of the B Corp, we actually have an alternative the state implemented called a SPC.
Social Purpose Corporation.
Yeah. It's functionally identical to a B Corp, which is functionally identical to a C Corp with, the provisions that you add in your corporate charter. But the SPC versus the B Corp, I think there's less requirements as far as paperwork and auditing that the B Corp has.
They're fundamentally different. Let me speak it, because I have a social
I'm not
purpose
actually
corporation.
done yet, but you can go ahead and finish if you want.
I'm sorry. I spent a lot of time on that, and I apologize for it.
You can, if you have whatever form, like you would say an LLC, a partnership, sole proprietorship, you can't get B Corp certified, separate from the actual structure that you file with the state. So it causes a little bit of confusion. There's B Corps that are actually, B Corp, C Corp, whatever. Then there's B Corp status, you can get it by getting certified and filing the reports to the required. That's pretty much all I have.
In Washington State, the Social Purpose Corporation is a specific actual type of corporation recognized by the state. A B corporation means nothing to the state. It's a self-certified or third-party certified private market activity. The state doesn't care. The social purpose corporation has a very important legal issue for investors. What it says is that if you're a social purpose corporation, you put in your articles of incorporation a statement that says, we will consider non-financial issues in making significant material decisions about the future of the business, as opposed to maximizing the profit for those investors. Because under normal fiduciary responsibility rules, if you're a company, you got to make money for your people. That's the rule. And here's what, for example, let's say you build a business and you're really excited about it. And here comes Patagonia Corporation that says, we love you and we want to make you part of Patagonia and we love your social values. We're going to buy you for $10 million. And here comes Exxon that says, we're going to buy you for $12 million. We're going to shut your ass down. Take you out. Your investors say, well, we want the $12 million deal. And that's their right. If you are a social purpose corporation, you can tell the investors, too bad, you signed it up. And they can't sue you for violating the fiduciary responsibility rule. If you don't have that statement in your articles of incorporation, and you don't give your investors the best possible deal financially, regardless of environmental or social conditions, they can sue you. They can say, you didn't give me the best deal, therefore I'm going to take it to court, and they can win. But if they sign up and your articles of incorporation, which are social purpose corporation under Washington State, it says right there, warning, red alert, we may not give you all the money you think you deserve. And you can't sue us because you walked into it with open eyes. That's the big difference. It's a single sentence that says we'll just consider non-financial issues in our decision making. But what that does is it protects you from people that sue you for selling out to Exxon to shut you down, to make more money.
And what stops you from being a C Corp and the same statement in your article?
You can do it. It's just that if you do it in Washington State, you get to say you're a social purpose corporation. And the downside is if you do that in your articles of incorporation, a lot of investors will say that's bullshit. So you pay a price.
Yeah.
B Corp doesn't have any legal ramifications. So from an investor's point of view, it's just window dressing.
Okay. Although you probably would have an article, a sentence like that in there.
You don't have to.
Okay.
The B Corporation doesn't have that requirement.
Okay. Okay. It doesn't associate where it's actually a formally recognized structure by the state. Like we have the SBC instead of B Corp in Washington.
Where are you from? Sure. That is Washington State.
I'm not from Washington. I'm from Florida.
Oh, so you have something different in Florida.
I actually not looked into what they have in Florida. But, I know a number of states have B Corps in place from SBC. And the SBC in Washington State is holding part of the response to B Corp.
And can you use the, Bert, can you give him the mic?
Sure.
What was that last bit, Aaron?
It's getting a little far afield from the original question of how to draw investors in the face of B Corp or SBC.
Yeah.
So it is a little off-putting. I've had a few conversations with people, and their reaction when hearing we want to organize as an SBC is that, well, okay, you're going to spend money on something instead of generating shareholder, value. That's all. But I've tried in different strategies and conversations trying to explain that, well, we have a long-term mission and we have something we're trying to do, but we can do that and also make sure that the people that take care of us, we will then in turn take care of you, especially if you're an real estate investor, an angel, a venture capital fund.
Right.
We do intend to be profitable, otherwise we'll be running a non-profit. So maybe with some communication and finding also the right investors, you can get something where you can have your mission, stated purpose, and still assure people that they're investing with the goal of getting a stated level of return. Things just might be 5 to 10 times, whatever. The 100 times unicorn
you can negotiate that, maybe what their expectations should be.
Are there any well-known companies that are B Corps? Like, for example, is Tesla a B Corp?
Let's see. Etsy was the first one to go public. And then another one went public a few months ago, late last year. I'm forgetting names. Cliff Bar, I believe, is a B Corp. Patagonia, a lot of the outdoor companies are public, are B Corps. REI is a co-op. They were sort of B Corp, like a B Corp hipster. It was like cool before everybody else was doing it. Yeah, if you go on the B Lab, like they have all of them listed. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That or
So is it like a way to market yourself? If you think you're a clean energy company, for instance, that would be a way to market yourself, to say that you're a B Corp, or is there some other purpose to it?
Yeah, I can't speak for everybody yet. It's like, one, it's very clearly stating your intentions, and it's setting up an internal protocol. It's like, here's what we're going to do for transparency on salaries, inclusion, environmental sustainability, having compost, recycling, all these programs. I mean, I remember a decade ago up here, we were fighting to sort of get recycling and compost be a standardized practice at the corporations here in Seattle. And now, if you don't do that, you're like, what are you doing? But the B Corp laws are sort of, it's codifying sort of there's all of these practices. So now people can just look up and say, here's what we say that we're going to do, and we're falling short. So how do we fix that? It's an internal roadmap.
Yeah, that's really interesting because it seems like you can be just a C Corp and then have very clear mission statement, very clear image instead of being a B Corp. So I wonder why companies choose one way or another.
I have a comment on that. Because there's another competing standard called the Global Reporting Initiative and the Sustainability Reporting Guidelines. It's been out for a lot longer than the B Corp. Because the European insurance companies figured out a long time ago that good sustainability management is the same as risk reduction. Because you're paying attention to the long-term things that are going to screw your business up. You know, and if your business is Antarctic oil, and climate change probably will affect you. But the sustainability reporting guidelines are a very technical, proscribed set of requirements for making a sustainability report. And they back it up with a huge amount of technical assistance. And they have a global network of companies sharing best practices. So in that way, it's like the Malcolm Baldrige quality guidelines from the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Whereas the B Corp is simply a self-certification system. Okay, you say, but the nice thing about the B Corp and why it's become popular, this is my opinion, why did the B Corp become popular, is because it's user-friendly. The sustainability reporting guidelines were developed by a bunch of consultants to make money for themselves, convincing everybody that they needed to get certified. Whereas the B Corp is just, they made a much, it's a user-friendly system.
It is. It's very easy to get started. If you want to say, you know, we want to do this. It's like you have to be a year in business and go through all these things to be a fully certified, but you can say, you get like a preliminary sort of certification, and then over the year, the next year, you sort of work to meet those goals and those milestones. Another B Corp, you want to It's a solar mosaic down in Oakland. They're the largest residential solar financing company. They've done over almost $1 billion worth of securitizations. They passed Tesla Solar City a year and a bit ago. They just did 300+ million, sold another 500 million last year. They're going to do several $1 billion worth of loans this coming year. And they're a full certified B Corp. Yeah. We're going to work, that's what I'm planning to do, the Clean Web, is B Corp. Makes sense, at least for me.
Think of it as a quick checklist of the things you ought to do to be a good company, including gender and diversity and environment and society. Check, 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 check. Are we thinking? I like it because it makes you think about it. You can put it onto your quarterly board meeting and say, are we doing these things? Most of the time people look at you and go, nah. What? And then you go, well, we should do something. Let's think about it. So it's good to have.
Hi, I'm Ravi. Welcome.
Hi, sorry I'm a bit late, but welcome to join me for the last bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're just talking now. I can show you the slides later, but this is what we want to do. We want to build a global network of clean tech startups, early stage innovation investors, and save the planet, impending doom from climate change. So, what's your name and what are you working on?
My name is Bas Koens, is my name. I work with a startup called GeoShip, and we're building a new kind of home. It's a home made out of ceramic, and it's going to be like way more ecological and sustainable, and also more healthy for you, like no chemicals used whatsoever, and also more affordable than a regular. And so we're basically on the same track as you by creating spaces for people to resonate with the earth.
Very cool. I was looking at your website. It's awesome. Geoship.is. Yeah.
Iceland.
Yeah.
We're based on Whitby, Iceland.
No.
Do you have any demo buildings?
We're working on that now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I want to see. Very cool. Anybody else have a topic they want to talk about?
Yeah, we should, what after this, but we want to know what you guys want. We want to listen to. Who's interested in the Seattle? Who do you want us to get up and call up? Because I'm happy to be down doors and call people up and say, can you speak to our group? And that is going to drive our membership up, is to have the interesting speakers. That is why people generally show up, other than free beer. That's part of the value for me is to get to know what's out here, and I want to hear from you guys to tell me. And I want to go out and meet those people and get them to speak. So feel free to email me or just talk to me.
I'm going to volunteer an opinion. This will be my last one. I think that your focus on trying to have an IT and web focus is really good.
Yeah.
I think it's excellent. Most clean tech stuff is industrial